morning, flyeaglesfly. Welcome to another jam-packed episode of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you from the beautiful and fall-like confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wherever you may be watching and listening, I thank you as always. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. You can check out the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast not only here on YouTube, but on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Patreon, Trovo, and as well as on Podbean. Happy to be here with you guys on this beautiful October 20th, 2025, the morning after a great Eagles victory against the Minnesota Vikings, chronologizing the performance from Jalen Hurts with his perfect passer rating that he had yesterday against Minnesota, the games that ajbrown and devontasmith had, chronologizing what the defense did, just, covering all facets and forms of everything Eagles football yesterday, what I liked, and what I didn't like, just pretty much going over everything in totality. So happy to be here with you guys as always. But before we get started, definitely want to make sure we give a shout out to several friends of the show. If you guys are familiar with the show or you follow the show consistently, you guys know that StubHub and Viagogo, the #1 and #2 leading ticket resellers in the world to live event shows and concerts, are currently friends of the show and have a plethora of events that are currently available. As you will see here on the screen, don't hesitate. Definitely make some of your weekend, make some of your time off. Check out these events, whether it be Bad Bunny in the UK, who obviously just got, we all know just a week or two ago, was headlined to do the Super Bowl halftime show this coming year for this upcoming Super Bowl, Super Bowl 60. Also as well, MLB postseason tickets. We all already know the Dodgers are in the World Series. Jam-packed events, a lot of things to unpack and get into. So definitely make sure you make the most of your time. StubHub and Viagogo, the #1 and #2 leading ticket resellers in the world to live events, shows, and concerts. And also for my avid gamers out there, don't hesitate to check the description box for this video with the link to PlayStation Home, PlayStation Direct, excuse me. If you're looking for anything to enhance or immerse your PlayStation experience, game consoles, controllers, accessories, bundle packages, anything that'll help benefit you, anything that'll help you, whether your battles in 2K or whether, playing Madden, Call of Duty, whatever it is, definitely implore you to check it out. Sony PlayStation, more than a game. All right, guys, hopping into this episode, Bird Gang. Again, this was a crazy ass game. Definitely happy to report on this and just dive into all the particulars, into all the things and specifics. Looking at it for what it was, it came off as a game where you felt pretty confident that Philadelphia was going to have to play a very solid game and do all the requisite things necessary to try to get into this game and win and just be competitive and just, put up a better fucking performance than what they put up the past couple weeks against the Giants and the Broncos, respectively. Knowing conscientiously that this had to be done, we all were wondering what exactly was going to happen as far as the game plan. Because in all honesty, Kevin Patullo has done well in the first half, hasn't really done well as far as like a full game plan offensively coaching this team. So be that as it may, now that we get into it, wow. I mean, you start off the game with a 14-play, 75-yard drive, ends in a beautiful touchdown on a 4th and 4 to ajbrown for 37 yards. Get into the game that he had as well in a little bit, but nonetheless, you're ecstatic by how that showed up and how pretty much that played out. And you're ecstatic now. I mean, now you're like, you got confidence. You're like, well, damn, offense playing like this, there's no way in hell we're going to lose this game. The Vikings, don't get any points. They're not able to score a touchdown on their opening possession. Horrible fumble by Wentz's center, the Vikings center. I forget the guy's name, Brendel. I want to say it was Brendel. He snapped the ball high. Ball goes over Wentz's head. Really much nothing to do with it. Drive stalls. They settle for a field goal. Right after that, Jalen Carter, who was another one, just like Quinyon Mitchell, who we were ecstatic to have back fresh off an injury. To have him back in the game, have him, just on defense, just on the field, period, his presence. We knew that he was going to have an impact today. He had an impact on that game. I mean, that pressure that he placed upon Carson Wentz, able to get that hit, just deter him enough to make that decision where, and I thought the breakdown from Greg Olsen during the game was stupendous, where you could clearly see it was great coverage and great shading by Vic Fangio, the way that coverage was set up. Carson Wentz had the inclination and thought process that he had Justin Jefferson on a slant going across the middle of the field. Jalen Hunt being able to drop back in coverage, taking away that passing lane, gave him the interception, gave him the first pick six of his career. It was a great thing to see Jalen Hunt do. He's been a great player for the Eagles to have. A nice, young, exciting player that's still developing. So it was a great thing to see him definitely have his moment to shine yesterday. And again, if you're the Eagles, you're riding high now. It's 14-3. You got some momentum. You kind of feel like all we got to do is just keep the pressure on. Everything's going to go great. Then you get another interception. Carson Wentz gives you another interception, a horrible deep throw where it seems like he was trying to get to Jordan Addison deep on that play. Double cover. Andrew Mukuba gets the interception. Just completely threw everything the fuck off from there. That being said, things get even crazier from here. You get Philadelphia with opportunity here, and I think this is what really was like, if you're an Eagles fan, this really was like something that grinded your gears, or was just, a knife to the ribs, pain in the ass, for lack of better terms. You have an offense that from that point forward goes through 4 consecutive 3-and-outs. And I mean, it just felt like they were just playing with their food, trying to give the game away, trying to leave the Minnesota Vikings in the game to win the game. It could have been disastrous for Philadelphia yesterday had that played out that way. Carson Wentz clearly shit the bed. He is just not a good quarterback. I think it's very evident. The decision making that he has is inexplicable at times. I mean, again, 26 of 42, 313 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He gets sacked twice, pivotal times too when he takes those sacks. Just bad decision making. Just goes to show you even more the reason why Philadelphia should be very confident and why they have Jalen Hurts over Carson Wentz. Just, again, not good decision making. Just consistently proven why he's bounced around the league since he's left Philadelphia. But Carson Wentz just giving the game away, and the Eagles were just unable to capitalize. And again, like I state, 4 consecutive 3-and-outs. It just really kind of had you like, Brian Flores' defense is good, but come on, Philly, something's missing. Something is really fucking missing here. Going to halftime with a 14-6 lead, stagnant on offense, not really liking how you're playing, kind of worried, a little precarious about how things might play out. And then you get the Vikings, who get good field position fresh off at halftime. They're in the game. You're figuring, okay, they're definitely going to get points there. Wentz, ineffective, inefficient again. They have to settle for a field goal. Points to the Eagles defense. Bad luck for the Minnesota Vikings. It's 14-9 at this point in the game. And this is where really the game changed, because by this point you're in the middle of the third quarter. Philadelphia is really desperately needing points. Minnesota is scraping and clawing back into the game, but not really doing anything yet to strike fear in you. And then lo and behold, and it's well documented now, devontasmith talked to Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni on the sidelines, got into their ear, let them know the coverages and what they were seeing out there on the field for the Minnesota defense, and executed the most beautiful play in the Philadelphia Eagles offensive library, the dagger. And for those that don't know, those that are watching this for the first time, as you'll see here on the screen, the dagger was the play that helped secure the second Super Bowl championship for the Philadelphia Eagles this past February against the Kansas City Chiefs. It was a deep ball to devontasmith on a play-action fake. And it was literally what it actually was executed again on that deep route. And it was ironic. It was against Isaiah Rodgers, who, you got to give Isaiah Rodgers credit. He's had an amazing year. He played with the Eagles last year, won a Super Bowl. He had a tough assignment yesterday going back and forth with ajbrown and devontasmith. He was getting cooked. No fault of his, really just trying to play the best of his ability. But on that play against devontasmith, 79-yard bomb connection between him and Jalen Hurts. Longest touchdown reception and longest catch of devontasmith's career. So it was definitely exciting to see. 21-9 lead. You clearly feel like the Eagles got the momentum. Now sky's the limit. Then the defense starts to falter. And it's weird because it just seems like early in this young season, the times and moments when the offense has put it together, maybe it's just because of the length of the time the defense has been out there on the field. For some reason, in pivotal moments, third quarter, early in the fourth, they start surrendering points. I get it. Both teams are professionals. There's no way to completely stop someone from completely scoring. However, the surrendering of points, the inability and ineffectiveness to realize the down and distance, and to just have the wherewithal to say, stop, we're not going to allow this to happen, bend but don't break, for lack of better words. It's quite startling at times. It's kind of distasteful and a little concerning if you're an Eagles fan, But nonetheless, the Vikings are able to come back and respond. Like I said, penalty on the Eagles, Jake Elliott for not having the ball in the kicking zone, basically landing short of the landing zone, I should say, excuse me. That puts Minnesota in great field position, only having to drive half the distance of the field. They're able to get a touchdown at Jordan Mason, who initially upon replay showed that he didn't score, but apparently did. So credit to the replay booth there for giving that. So now it's 21-16 game. You're the Eagles. You're a fan like myself. You're a bit fucking nervous at this point. It's kind of looking like, all right, man, we got to get some type of points. What are we going to do to try to keep this team at bay? And then lo and behold, you get in the red zone, unable to capitalize. And it's something that I say typically a lot of times as an Eagles fan watching these games, where if we're supposed to get a touchdown and then we settle for a field goal and we miss, I tend to not bitch too much about it. I mean, obviously, if it costs you the game, you're pissed off. But I tend not to bitch too much about it because the way football is played is the name of the game is score touchdowns. Yes, field goals help. Field goals help extend leads. Hell, field goals sometimes help initiate getting points on the board. But field goals should not be the end-all, be-all to winning a football game. You got the Eagles on a 10-play, 57-yard drive downfield, get in the red zone, missed field goal by Jake Elliott. Not pissed off there. First miss by Jake Elliott that he had all season. And he had a topsy-turvy year last year, turned it around in the postseason. So not going to bitch or complain too much about that. But what I am going to complain about is the ineffectiveness in the play calling by Sirianni and Patullo in that situation where, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think there was a sequence where you get a 28-yard pass to Devontasmith that gets you in position. You get another deep ball to Devontasmith that puts you possession route, middle of the field, gets you in position. This is your next play. These are your next several plays right after that big catch from Devontasmith. 5-yard pass to Dallas Goedert. Saquon Barkley stuffed, no gain. 3rd and 5, Saquon Barkley stuffed, no gain. 4th and 5, missed field goal. So that right there was another situation that could have came back to bite us in the ass. Thank God that Philly was able to respond. Lo and behold, Vikings go downfield, get another field goal. Now the pressure's on. It's 21-19 game. Momentum's kind of changed. Stadium's a little bit louder. Minnesota's feeling it. They feel like they're in the game. Well, now lo and behold, Philadelphia does exactly what they need to do. Drives downfield, connects with AJ.Brown on a beautiful touchdown. And I want to make sure that I say this, how important this was. AJ.Brown and Jalen Hurts' connection throughout this game was the difference in winning and losing this game. DeVonta was the key to the Eagles scoring points and extending drives. The connection between AJ.Brown and Jalen Hurts was the difference in winning and losing this game. First of all, you get the ball, you're at your own 30-yard line. Saquon Barkley gets stuffed. That doesn't look good. You then have an incomplete pass. That doesn't look good. Just shit not looking right. All of a sudden, AJ.Brown, 13-yard gain. Okay. Saquon gets 8 yards on a running play. Cool. You get another play where, essentially Saquon gets a 5-yard run, has to step out due to injury. Scary moment. Couldn't tell if it was a shoulder concussion, but be that as it may. Then one of the key pivotal plays to the game, you get a deep ball to Devontasmith, 21 yards, put you at the Minnesota 47. Well, excuse me, you left the Minnesota 47, you get to the Minnesota 26, and then bam, game-sealing touchdown, as you'll see here on the screen. Jalen Hurts to AJ.Brown, which essentially put the game away and sealed it for the Eagles. And of course, Minnesota was able to get a field goal late because you get a situation where, that TJ Hawkinson play where he doesn't score, man, does that change the direction of this game. And I thank God that he wasn't able to hold on to the ball because TJ Hawkinson, he caught it. I mean, he did everything he was supposed to catch it. That would have definitely made the game tighter, possibly had you considering overtime, possibly changing Sirianni's thought process towards ending the game. But Philadelphia did a masterful job. Great by the replay booth to see that, Hawkinson didn't catch the ball. And it essentially made the Vikings have to settle for a field goal that was neither here nor there. Because to end the game, just to show you the clock management where you learn from your mistakes when you have time to sit back and review things. The Eagles end the game going on a 15-play, 33-yard drive, essentially taking the final minute and 57 seconds off the clock. sealing the game, winning it 28-22, getting a necessary road victory, and just ultimately stemming the tide and stopping the bleeding and quelling all qualms and talks about what was wrong with this team or possibly wrong with this offense or what needs to be done. Now, that being said, obviously there are still things that need to be addressed. The running game is still an issue. I think a lot of that has been through injuries to the offensive line. You had a moment in the game where literally Cam Jurgens left, Tyler Steen was out. You're losing guys left and right throughout the process of the game, and then you still had Landon Dickerson coming back, and he played through with an injury through yesterday. So the running game is going to suffer. The passing game has to definitely step up and be better. Jalen Hurts, 19-23. 326 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, 158.3 passer rating, perfect passer rating. Completion percentage of 82%. I mean, Jalen was just on fucking fire yesterday. You're happy with that performance. Like I said, Devontasmith, 9 receptions, 183 yards, 1 touchdown. Most receiving yards that he had in his career. ajbrown, 4 receptions, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like I said, obviously with the key, especially, the third downs, the deep balls. Overall ecstatic with the performance of what I saw from the offense. Still a work in progress, still things they got to work through, but definitely a huge sign of life, a huge sign of making you feel a little bit more confident that this team could definitely overcome some of these issues that have plagued them early in the year. Looking at my key takeaways, though, ultimately from this game, obviously, if you're the Minnesota Vikings, you have to say that this was definitely a bunch of missed opportunities. 6 red zone possessions. 5 field goals, 1 touchdown. That's your ball game. That's your ball game. Just think about that in reverse. If you're able to get 5 touchdowns and 1 field goal, changes the whole complexion of how Minnesota would have played and handled this game. So Carson Wentz, there was a lot of speculation that they were going to wait to see how he played after this game if they were going to determine to name him a starter. I think it's pretty safe to say he's not going to be the starter. The Eagles defense did exactly what they were supposed to win this game. Like I said, they got the necessary interceptions, they got the necessary sacks, and this is with you losing guys throughout the game. Azeez Ojulari goes down with the injury throughout the game yesterday. Moro Ojomo took some friendly fire from Kaylee Ringo and had to step out. This team is so fucking tough and so physical. They just learn to persevere through the shit. Got to give them credit. Like I said, we spoke on Jalen Hurts and the game that he had. Spoke about the wide receivers and how the passing game looked. Spoke on the running game. The key, most importantly, is can the Eagles sustain this? I do think this is sustainable. The more and more they're able to evaluate the flaws and things that they were incapable or unable to do early in the year, I think now, after that 10-day layoff, as I stated in a previous video, that it was going to be very crucial for them to really evaluate, going forward, how they were going to address things. I just really feel like Philly is starting to finally figure out identity-wise what they want to do. And I think, the mix of the run and pass, stick with what you do. I think the holes are going to start to open up for Saquon. I just think that, with the injuries that they've had and the issues at times with the running game and the play selection and the times that they've ran the ball, I don't think it's been conducive to a lot of success. However, I do think you're starting to get to those cold weather bumps. And we know what happens when it starts to get cold. You run the ball a little bit more. And there's going to be situations where I think Saquon's going to definitely be able to, bust the gap or, break the seam and, have those explosive plays. So it's something that's been lacking in the offense this year, but the passing game getting better is definitely something that'll be able to mediate and mitigate those factors. We will be able to see, but as looking into it, the next couple things that we got going on here, trades. Obviously, with the litany of injuries going on and things at the cornerback position, I think it is definitely something that the Eagles are going to address. I mean, it's been well reported. Mike Garafolo, Ian Rappaport have all reported that the Eagles and pretty much Howie Roseman have let it be known that they're going to be scouring the tables and scouring the books, trying to see if there's some way that they could be able to get some more talent in here to help this team. The Eagles definitely have some options. I mean, as you guys will see here on the screen, a lot of you guys, myself included, wouldn't mind Trey Hendrickson being, the defensive end, along the edge for the Philadelphia Eagles. But there's a chance that the Eagles might just try to trade for a guy like Bradley Chubb. Obviously, familiarity with Vic Fangio in the defense. There's a situation where they may try to trade for other guys, who are less expensive. Guys that might be able to fit the mold of what the Eagles want to do going forward, contractually and financially. So We shall see. I mean, I don't know, but I know that the Eagles are definitely going to have to do something. Rick Woolen from the Seattle Seahawks has even been linked to the Philadelphia Eagles. So definitely got to make some moves. Definitely got to address some things. But all in all, definitely we got to enjoy this victory and prepare because these next couple games coming up are going to be tough. You got a division matchup, rematch for the Giants. Definitely got to get some payback on that ass on October 26th, 1 p.m. game. But then after that, you got the Packers, Lions, Cowboys. So these next 4 games are going to be very pivotal for the Eagles and definitely help set them up potentially for playoff seeding. So sky's the limit. Like I said, hell of a game for the Bird game and definitely excited for what the future may hold for this team. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Again, Fly Eagles Fly. Shout out to the Bird game. Take care and enjoy the rest of your Monday.